Hello and welcome to the Strike a Balance podcast for Working Homeschool Moms. This is Charlotte Jones. I'm a homeschool coach and homeschooling mom of twin boys. I know it can feel really overwhelming to keep all the balls in the air all the time. So each week I chat about tips and strategies for being a happy and thriving working homeschool mom that you can implement in your life too. I also speak to awesome and inspiring women who manage to juggle homeschooling and work successfully and find out what their secrets are. Be sure to check out my time audit and mindset challenge in the show notes and sign up to my newsletter for lots of cool freebies. And if you ever need to chat, please book in a session with me. I'm so excited for you to be here and I hope you'll get so much value out of this episode. So let's get started. Are you looking for a new math curriculum? Well, I'm thrilled to introduce our favorite math curriculum to you. CTC Math specializes in providing online video tutorials that take a multi-sensory approach to learning. Favorably reviewed in Kathy Duffy's 102 Top Picks and the Old Schoolhouse Crew review, the lessons are short and concise to help your children break down concepts and appreciate math in a whole new way. The lessons are taught the traditional way and not to a test. Each one of the video tutorials is taught by an internationally acclaimed teacher, Pat Murray, who is renowned for teaching math concepts in a simple, easy to understand way and in only a few minutes at a time. Using a multi-sensory approach means having the combination of effective graphics and animation synchronized with the voice of a friendly teacher together with a practical assessment. This three-pronged attack makes learning so much easier and more effective. Even students who struggled with math are getting fantastic results, and ones who were doing okay before are now doing brilliantly. Visit ctcmath.com today to start your free trial. CTC Maths is generously offering my listeners an amazing special. Go to www.ctcmath.com/MLH to get a half price discount plus a bonus 6 months for free. That's ctcmath.com/MLH. Today I'll be talking to Jay, who is a former teacher turned child-led homeschooler of her two children. She's also the creator of a really nifty app called Homeschool Yo Kids. Welcome to the podcast, Jay. I'm so excited to be talking to you today.
I'm excited to be talking to you. I appreciate you so much.
So before we get started, maybe you could tell me or answer this question for me. So if you were to write your autobiography today, what would be the title and why?
Oh, well, I've actually already written like a little memoir of my first 36 years, and it was titled Stop Effing Settling. So, with you saying that I used to be a public school teacher, that was me settling for something that wasn't really pure with my soul, like what I felt like I needed to be doing. So I stepped out of that box and I stepped on a whole nother journey. So I guess I will stick with that title.
It's amazing. I mean, I never expect people to actually have written their autobiography. So this is really, really awesome. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, I have. It was a big release for me. It was starting a new chapter. It was letting go of all the other things that I had going on, expressing my discernment for public education and all that I was carrying while I was there. So it definitely fueled my passion for what I'm doing now.
And I have spoken to quite a few homeschoolers who were teachers before. And I think it's a really tough job, though, isn't it? It takes a lot out of you.
Yes, ma'am. All
Mm.
the way. You carry a lot. You carry a lot. I tell my last school year, I had 147 students,
Wow.
or 157. I'm sorry, 157 students, and it's like you're expected to be basically in all of these homes and with all of these individuals, and it's a lot. It's definitely a lot.
It's a job that I really, really admire. I mean, yeah, like we said, it's definitely a tough job, but it's important as well.
I wanted to be a teacher from the fifth grade. From the time I was in the fifth grade, because my fifth grade teacher she was amazing. And I still remember her. And I actually ended up substituting for her class when I was older, which was beautiful. I cried, of course. But she definitely made a mark on me. And I pictured school being, or me being able to make marks on kids in that way. But when I got into the public education, by the time I was able to get into the public education system, it was totally different than, of course, when I was in the fifth grade. So it wasn't like that. It
Sure.
wasn't like that. It was a lot
Mm,
more number based
mm, mm,
and
mm,
standardized. So it was sad. It was
mm.
draining, and yeah, it was a lot. It
Sure,
was a
yeah, I
lot.
can imagine. And maybe you can tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I have two beautiful little people that I've been entrusted to raise and guide through this lovely journey. They're 5 and 8, two young ladies. Oh, they keep me on my toes. They are another reason, another fuel for this passion because I love them being them. I love seeing them flourish in themselves and confidently just be themselves and not try to appease or live up to any type of standards. I currently live in Arizona. I just moved recently, 9 months ago from Virginia. So it was a big transition, but I love it here. I call this my desert oasis because I came here in search of healing and growth, and I definitely found it all the way. And I feel great now. I feel great now that I released a lot of things that I was carrying that I didn't need to be carrying anymore. And so now it's just about homeschooling and sharing this sense of freedom in general, just with others. I'm a big advocate for this now. Not necessarily. I don't want to say advocate because I don't go protest or do any of that lovely stuff. But I do speak profoundly about the joys of homeschooling, and I do encourage anyone who has it on their heart to follow it. Like, go with it because I feel like we are all qualified, and I feel like that's why they came through us was because we were the ones that were supposed to guide them on this journey, not pass the baton off. So I'm excited about everything that this chapter has started with.
Absolutely. And I think people like you are very important because it can be quite scary to make that decision, though, don't you think, to start homeschooling?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. And I feel like my job is to show how informal it can be because I think people think about homeschooling in a manner of school at home, of course. And we've all been like, the majority has been to public school. So that's what the thought that you carry. But I promise when I transitioned from teaching in the classroom to teaching my kids, I did it totally different because I was there for the model. I saw how the model worked and I knew that model did not work. My last year teaching, I was a 12th grade English teacher. I had students reach me reading on a third grade level. I had students reach me not comprehending or not really fully grasping just life in general, not knowing the difference between rent or mortgage, not knowing just the basics. And so I fully see that the public school model is not a model to follow. So that's why I think my transition has been easy, but I wholeheartedly understand where parents are like, oh, I can't teach my child for 7 hours. Da, da, da. Yeah, you don't need to. You don't need to sit them down for 7 hours, but you're teaching them all throughout the day. Like school is not. You're not trying to do school at home. You're not. You're just trying to guide them and let them lead and teach them along the way. My girls ask 100,000 questions a day. I said I want to start a book with my oldest. The questions that she asked, some of them are so like what, and I always and my a favorite of mine, and I think this is big too for parents. It's okay not to know. And I tell my girls I don't know. Let's look it up. I don't know. Let's look it up. I can put that on a shirt. I don't know. Let's look it up. But yeah, I get the fear. I get it. But it's just a mindset. It's definitely a mindset. It all starts with, you letting go of the model that you've known or you feel that school should look like and understanding that it's your home and your way.
Absolutely. That's really, really true. And how long have you been a working homeschool mom, and what made you choose to be one?
This is my second year into this because the first year I was still teaching. So it was me, juggling both. But because of the lockdown, I was at home. So I don't know. I knew that I couldn't go back in the school system in the way that I saw it going. So I made the conscious decision to dedicate my time. And let me be clear about something. I always, before I even had kids, I knew I wanted to homeschool them because I've been in public education for 14 years. So I knew that wasn't somewhere that I wanted to have my kids grow up, basically. But I also felt like elementary was going to be okay for them. I felt like, oh, elementary, once again, like I said, I wanted to be a teacher since the fifth grade. So elementary to me was not that bad. However, that was my elementary, and that was decades ago. Once I got a grasp and got a feeling of how school was now as far as elementary goes, yeah, I had to make a jump out the window because, it's not a good model. It really isn't. And I just feel like public school in general, and I don't know how to best put it, but I just feel like it deters kids from their purpose. It deters them from what their passions are and what they are actually here for. And then it molds them into, I guess, a standardized citizen. And I didn't want my kids to partake in that because, like I said, I love seeing them as them and all of what they hold and possess on their own, and I like growing them from that. I didn't want them to fit a mold. I didn't want them to become standardized. So that's what led me to saying, okay, now we're gonna do this thing at home now, as opposed to the middle school ages that I just knew they weren't going to be in middle school. So
Mm-hmm.
no middle school for them. But yeah, no, now, and they love it. My girls love homeschool. They do. When we first got to Arizona, I joke and tell people when we first moved, like I said, I was carrying a lot when we first got here. When we first moved, I used to threaten my girls with public school at least once a week. Like, I'm gonna send y'all to public school because y'all are not participating. But yeah, no, we made it through that patch.
And I think actually elementary school is almost like more important though, isn't it? Because that's where you foster the love for learning and where you kind of build your idea about what learning is. So I think it's almost like more important and children are forced to do so much in elementary school already. They have to read and they have to write and they have to do all these hectic things. Yeah, I mean that's also why we took our kids out after only 1 year of school.
Yeah, you're so right. Elementary school has definitely become driven with tests also and labels. That's the thing with me. And I, like I said, I saw how these labels affect children in the long run. When I get 12th graders that it seemed like they shut off their love for learning in third grade or elementary school because they were told that they didn't learn like everyone else, or
Mm.
they had, that there was something wrong with the way that they learned. So they just stopped learning or stopped enjoying it rather. So yes, you're absolutely right. Elementary school is a very important time of a child's life because that is where you foster the love for learning and get them to get involved with their growth in itself.
And so you say you have quite a relaxed homeschool, but what would you say kind of a typical day looks like in terms of your schedule?
Our typical day, and it starts with a little stretching. We do some yoga to start with. It usually doesn't start around until around 10 or 11 as far as our sit down time, like us together. We have an area, a learning area in our home, and we call it the forest because we have a green rug in it. So I'll tell them to meet me in the forest and we'll start with some stretching, and it's mainly us reading. We do a lot of reading. They'll read a book, I'll read a book, We'll do a little circle because we love the library. So we always have some new books to partake in. The girls like playing games. I like them doing puzzles. When I'm looking around, they like Legos. It's just a lot of hands on activities. We do crafts, things of that nature. But like everyone everyone who's immersed in the homeschool or home learning journey understand that it's all day. So we'll be in the car and the girls will ask me for math problems. We'll be in the car, they'll ask me to ask them how to spell different words, like just randomly. So it's our days are very, very lax. It's definitely a go with the flow. What do you want to go? What do you want to dive into this week? What do y'all want to learn about? We have some technology time. We don't have a television at home, so a lot of their time is spent with their imagination as a whole. So
And then in terms of the year, do you kind of homeschool year round or do you take breaks during the year?
it's I guess you would say year round, but only because yes, we do take breaks throughout the year. It's not a constant thing. We definitely take plenty of breaks because the learning it never stops. So the formal let's meet in the jungle or the forest rather, that may be put on pause for the day, but we still learn throughout the day. Even with whatever activity we do, it's still learning. Like we took the girls to the zoo for Kenny's birthday. Her last birthday, we went to the zoo, and the zoo is just that's all you're doing is learning about lovely animals as you're walking around, interacting with them, feeding them, learning from the caretakers and everything else. So everything could be a learning experience. So I say it's year round.
Absolutely. Yeah. 24/7, 365, basically,
Yes.
right? And that's what's so
Yes.
great about homeschooling as well, is because they have these other opportunities to learn not just academic things, but life skills and interacting with people and just being in the world.
Yes, and they like it. Like that's the
Mm,
thing. Like when it's not forced upon them or it's not something where they're sitting down for hours on end doing, kids like learning. Kids
mm,
like feeling like, oh, okay, this is how I get as smart as you. Because my oldest, that's her biggest thing. I want to be smart like you. And I'm just like, well, keep growing, girl. Like I have a bunch of years on you. Okay, you got a ways to go, but you are smart. And letting them teach you is a great way to foster them and their learning too. Because it's like, oh, I have something to teach. Oh, shucks. Oh, they love that. They love
mm.
being, the leader and showing what they do know because they know a lot. These young beings, they know so much. They know so much
Absolutely. That's because they're just absorbing everything all the time, though, isn't it? That's the thing.
all
Yeah.
the time.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm, mm. It's amazing. Sometimes you're like, where did you even get that from?
Yes.
Where did you
Yes.
learn
Like,
that?
what?
Yeah.
But
I love that.
it's like
Uh,
that they got it from somewhere. I tell
uh,
people for the first 2 years of my oldest daughter's life, I could tell you everything and how she learned it because I didn't work the first year and a half with her. I didn't work. So I could tell you where she learned something from, how she picked it up, who said this or whatever, because it was like I paid that much attention to her and her learning. But yes, they absorb everything, everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's amazing. And how do you stay organized generally?
I don't think I am. I don't know if I am organized. I make to-do lists all the time. I love to-do lists because I just like checking things off and feeling accomplished with myself. But I'm a freestyler. I'm definitely a freestyler. So a lot of things are just okay. How's this day gonna go? And wherever we start, like I said, we meet in the forest, and then how things foster after that is however it flows. But I don't know if I'm that well with organization.
Well, I mean, I think it's good to be able to. That's also kind of the flexibility of homeschooling that kind of allows that, I think, which is nice because I think when people start, especially like you said, people who've been in public school themselves and they have kids and they think, oh, we must be like super, super, everything must be perfect all the time. But it's not the case. It's not possible all the time anyway.
No.
Uh,
Schedule definitely, I think, kind of hinders you sometimes because it's like
sure.
you have this set time for this and set time for that. And then it's like, but what if that runs over? Like, no, just go with it. Say, I think you can lay out tasks for the day, but as far as scheduling time for the day, I don't know. I'm definitely, me and the clock has never been one and one. So,
I suppose it also feels so free after being in a school environment where I suppose like the bell or the school bell was
yes.
everything though, wasn't it?
Yes, yes, you are absolutely right about that. Not hearing those bells, not having a transition at this time, cut this off, no matter where you're at in your
Mm,
lesson, cut this off and then go to that. Yeah, no, it's definitely a big difference.
sure. And what would you say is your absolute favorite homeschooling resource and why?
I think games. I love playing games with them. We have the game of life. And I think that is so like it goes with so many things as far as life skills go. We talk about so much with that. So I really like games. Games and puzzles are my go-to.
Sure. I
Critical
mean,
thinking.
game schooling is a thing though, isn't it? I mean, lots of
I
people talk
know.
about
I just
game
saw
schooling.
that.
Yeah. Mm,
I have come across a couple parents. I think I have a parent on the app that's a game
mm,
schooler. Yeah, that is a thing, and I do understand why. I do. But there's just
absolutely.
so many resources. Just I love going to the thrift store and finding new things.
Sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, like we said, the kids learn from absolutely everything. And also they're so enthusiastic about things as well, which is nice,
Yes.
isn't it? Yeah.
Especially new things. Like they just like,
Oh.
oh my gosh. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, so you said sometimes you threaten the girls with going to public school. So have you
Yes.
had times with homeschooling where you thought maybe you wanted to quit? And if you did, how did you get
No,
through those times?
like when we first moved, it was frustration, definitely.
Mm,
But that was more so I don't like math. And so anytime we get to math, it's like a draining thing. And me and my oldest was butting heads with some things. But it just took me readjusting or, just trying to figure out a different approach to it. And we worked it out. But yeah, no, I don't think there's ever really been a real time where I was like, oh no, I can't do this because I know that I'm meant to do this. So
mm,
just it's just all about mindset. Like I said, mindset.
mm.
And I do yoga and meditation in the morning. I do a lot of things before the girls actually get up. So I just keep myself well balanced with things. So
And what about if you're having like just a tough day, a tough homeschool day? How do you get through a day like that?
reset. I'll go take a nap. I will go take a nap and reset and restart. The girls are 5 and 8, so it's not like they can't, handle time by themselves. But I will definitely reset or even
Absolutely.
go outside too. That's a big thing with me. Like, hey, let's go to the park, and I'll go and sit and do some grounding work, take off my shoes and sit in the grass, and just relax.
Hmm. I think it also comes maybe I've what I've kind of picked up is that it comes with experience as well. I think in the beginning you have the feeling to kind of double down. I think when days are tough because you're like, no, we must get through the work. But I think as you kind of lean into homeschooling a bit more, you realize that it's okay to take breaks, right? It's actually
Yes.
very important.
Yes, you are
Mm,
absolutely right. There is no, oh, I got to reach this certain. When I typed up the standards for kindergarten for, a regular kindergarten year, I was amazed at how many things that me and my youngest had accomplished without me even being aware of the standards. So that showed me that yeah, you can just go with the flow of things and things are going to go as you need it to. So that I don't mind taking breaks because I know it's needed and we are very outdoorsy. So anytime we can step outside, we're going to step outside. The
Mm.
park is our friend just about every day of the week. Yeah, just about every day we go to the park. Yeah, breaks are needed. Breaks are definitely
Mm-mm.
needed.
Sure. So my next question you have kind of answered. So you're saying that mindset is everything for being a successful homeschool mom. Maybe you can chat a little bit more about that. What does that look like in practical terms?
And mindset confidence is where it all starts. I feel like if you are taking care of yourself and encouraging yourself, then you're able to pour out and encourage, those around you, which are essentially your kids. And so once you have a great mindset on homeschooling, you're able to pour that into your kids and allow them to also enjoy it too. I told you I do meditation, I do yoga, I have a whole spiritual playlist that I listen to. I like to pour into myself because I know that's the energy I'm gonna give out to my kids. Like the more I'm able to take care of me, the more I'm able to successfully take care of them. So it definitely all starts in your head and what you're doing to make sure you're in the right place. Because a lot of adults, carry things that sometimes is needed for release so that they can be their best selves. So once you recognize where you're at in your head, because it starts with what you're telling yourself and what you believe about yourself or what you know that you're capable of, it's just growing on that mindset and being positive, being putting positive energy into yourself, putting positive energy around you. It's being trusting the process. That's my my main
Mm,
thing. Learn to trust the process. And don't be so hard on yourself. Like you got it. You got
mm,
it.
mm. Absolutely, yeah. And I think also just being a parent and being a homeschooling parent, it's such a, you just learn so much about yourself, I think, as
Yes.
well. Mm,
Yes, I definitely say my 8-year old. She's grown me in so many different ways, and I
mm,
think that's what a lot of parents have to need to learn to hold on to the fact that you're still growing and allow yourself to grow with your little people. Like y'all are all meant to grow and learn continuously. Life learners, you are. So you're just a bit older with your learning, but you're still learning and allow yourself to do so. Told you, I like to say I don't know. I don't know.
sure.
Let's look it up.
No, absolutely. I think it's so great to admit that. It also shows kids that, that we're infallible. I mean, we're not, we're not superhuman. I think, because I don't think that's healthy,
Yeah.
really, for the kids to think that we are perfect in any way. And it also
Yes.
teaches them to
And
find
I think
information, right? Yeah.
yes, I think
Mm.
parents like get in their head that they need to appear perfect to their kids, and no, that's not the case. You're gonna drain yourself trying to do that. No, show them that you have off days. Show them that you're willing to learn. Show them that you're willing to look up things. Like no, like it's something you're doing together. Something you're doing together.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you could think back to when you started homeschooling, what do you think is the most important thing when you start out on the journey?
You already touched on it. Mindset,
Mm,
just building confidence in that you know what you're doing, and even if you don't know what you're doing, you're able to look it up because research
mm,
is everything, and there's resources everywhere. So, and there's no one way to do homeschool. There's no one way to do life. Everyone's individuals. Like we are all here for our own particular reasons, destinies, journeys, whatever the case may be. Your journey is your journey, and don't try to match it to anyone else's. So that's my biggest thing, just understanding that when you homeschool, it's really about what works in your home for your child. Because if you wanted to follow a standard or wanted to follow a certain program for what your homeschool needs to look like, then you could stay in public school for that matter. So it's definitely about being an individual and leading your way in your home and doing it together.
absolutely. And I think maybe you can tell us a little bit more about your app, because I think your app kind of encompasses all these ideas. So maybe you can tell us about Homeschool Your Kids.
Yes, Homeschool Yo Kids. Big emphasis on the yo. I titled it that just to show once again how informal homeschooling can be. It is not something that has to fit any kind of standard as far as books go and what it needs to look like. Throughout the app, I continuously show choice because you have a choice in all the matters that pertains to home learning. And that's why I make it a point to show all of the resources, all of the activities, all of the different curriculums that you can come across. I share the podcasts, blogs, just so much information. My favorite section thus far definitely has been my introducing section, which you are featured in, where I show different families because with reading, I have, I want to say, over 70 families listed so far, and no one's journey has been the same. Everyone, like some of the advice that they give to new homeschoolers, have definitely mirrored each other. But as far as their journey goes, their reasons why, and all that, it's all different. And I love that because that is what it's all about. It's about what works for your home. And all of the parents definitely mirror a saying of don't try to focus on other people's homeschool journeys. Don't try to focus or mirror what you see on Instagram or social medias. Do what works for your family. And that's my biggest thing that I want to share in this app is just you doing what you confidently are able to do with your family and making sure that your young learners love learning.
Absolutely. And I think the community aspect of it is really important because I know I live in a place where there's not a big homeschooling community. So my online community has really supported me so much. So I like that you also have that community aspect in on the app as well.
Yes, because I think the community, the groups, different Facebook groups, the social medias, just being able to see that you're not alone on the
Yeah.
journey. Like there are other people that are doing and going through the same motions as you. It's just, okay, well, let me look and see what their story holds and what I can take from it to help grow me in my home learning journey, but never feeling like, oh, I should be doing that. Oh, goodness. Oh, I'm not doing enough. Like, no, that's not what it's for. But it's definitely inspirational to see all of the different families that are homeschooling. And just with me reaching out to so many families, it is way more popular than
Mm.
you would think it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's definitely growing. And like I'm sure the pandemic has had a big impact on that. I know in South Africa, a lot of people have chosen to homeschool now because I guess they obviously they were forced into it, but they see that it can be so beneficial and so much more flexible,
Yes.
obviously, than public school. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Jay. It was really, really fantastic to talk to you. And thank you for sharing your wisdom and your advice and your experiences with homeschooling. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much for taking time out to speak with me. And I do appreciate you and all that you do for the homeschool community. I enjoy your posts. You have such motivating posts on Instagram. I do appreciate you. So thank you for allowing me on your platform.
I really hope you enjoyed the episode. Drop me a DM on Instagram or post on the Working Homeschool Moms support group over on Facebook. And let me know what resonated the most with you. It would also be great if you could rate, review, and subscribe, or share the podcast with a working homeschool mom who might need it. It's my mission to support as many working homeschool moms as possible. Until next time, take care. Hello and welcome to the Strike a Balance podcast for working homeschool moms. This is Charlotte Jones. I'm a homeschool coach and homeschooling mom of twin boys. I know it can feel really overwhelming to keep all the balls in the air all the time. So each week I chat about